My name is Susan.
My name is Eunice.
My name is Wango.
Shiro Madenge.
Bagare. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment on our episodes.
Karibuni Mum Nation.
Hi guys, welcome to Mum Nation, and we are all here, all of us. Happy to be here, happy that you're here. So what we're going to discuss today is about co-parenting, and co-parenting in the context of a situation where both parents both parents are not together, like you're living in your own separate homes. And we have a behind the scene guest, so you'll just be hearing their voice as they contribute to this very emotional and intense conversation.
Preempted it will be emotional and intense.
It is going to be emotional and intense, let me tell you.
Preempt that it's the other gender.
No,
The
I just said
other
they.
parent.
I just said they.
They.
See, it will come. So, okay. So we're in this situation of co-parenting because hatujelewana or whatever happened. It could be that we got a child out of wedlock and you thought it's not gonna work. Munachana. Or you were in a marriage and unfortunately it did not work. Or, you know, that setting. So we have this child that we both share. How do we raise this child to experience both mom and dad for their benefit? So the key word here is for the benefit of the child. Umelewa? Haya, sawa. So how do we deal with, or how do we manage co-parenting? Because we have had stories on the streets about sijui huyu hafanyi, amefanya. You know, how do we get that rhythm going, and a rhythm or a routine that works for both of us, right? So, yes, teacher. Yes, student.
This one is a teacher's
I think the first thing as a couple, because for you to make this child, you are a couple, even if it was just for one night. So for you as as a couple, you have to sit like civilized people and agree if you're going to do this this co-parenting together separately, so to speak, and how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
It would be the most ideal way. Yeah, it depends on how you broke up, but since it's for the benefit of the child, as we have said, put your differences aside and sit and speak like civilized people and agree on how you're going to manage. So you agree who is going to live with the child, who most of the time it turns out it ends up being the mother, because she's they're called what, the primary what, caregiver or the natural, it's the natural thing for her to be the one who stays with the child or with the children. But in some situations the mother is the problem, so it ends up being the father. So you must both agree who is going to stay with the child. Whether you agree between the two of you or you have to go through a court process, now that's a different story. But there must be some sort of agreement. And then the person who is not going to live with the child, you need to agree, are they going to have parental rights, like visitation rights, and how often are they going to visit, how often are they going to call to speak to the children, what is going to be their role in these children's life. Are they going to be, if it's the man who is going to be separate, or whoever is the breadwinner, because sometimes you may find the woman is the breadwinner, but the man is the one who is able to stay with the children. So the parent who is going to be the provider financially, what is going to be their role financially, and how are they going to keep at it? It helps to put things in writing and to do things formally, so that when one partner fails later, it doesn't become a question of, but you said you'll do this, but you didn't do it, but if you put it in writing, then they are obligated to do it. And I am speaking about obligation because, I'm sorry, but men, you tend to like fall off the bandwagon, of co-parenting and just,
When Wangari asked, how are we coping with co-parenting? it is because there were siders, people who don't, because there's an ideal definition, and I think when everybody goes into this that situation, or even that short-term the situation, the ideal is, or the objective is that you're only going to be there for the child. See, that we are always so selfless. So I'm speaking from experience. We're always selfless about that the child is the one who's at the center of it all. Yeah. But then now here we are having a conversation about how to cope with it, because
It's
not selfless.
yeah, because it's not selfless.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it doesn't happen in I don't know. I'm
In the
sure
common situation.
in the common situation, you'll find that it's not happening. There are a lot of people who fall off the agreement. Yeah. So it could be the mom, whoever has the children. Now the other person is one who goes, or both of you just don't agree, or are not agreeing to the terms that you set.
Or you let your feelings for each other get in the way. Because you see, like us women, if a man dumps me, I'm bitter. I'm a woman's scorn. Yeah, I'm a woman's scorn. So I want to hurt him. So I will I can use his children to hurt him.
Yeah.
And make him, because he loves his children so much. You might find he's hurt me, but maybe he loves his children so much. So I will like try to keep his children away from him, or turn them against him, and vice versa. The man might see, I can't provide for my children, but I love my children. So he might use that, I know somebody who, because he's the one who is providing, so he's chased away the wife, whatever differences they had, but he's the one who is providing, so he takes the child. He's the one who is having all the say as to what the child can do. He takes the child during school days. He does all those things,
Because he's the one with the
Yeah, because he's the one who has the financial
ability.
muscle.
Oh, okay.
Did I shrub?
But also, when you were talking about sitting down to agree,
Yeah.
at what point, as we are sitting down to agree, where is this child? Is it in default where we were living before? Because it's okay to say we need to agree, we need to put it in writing. But by the time we're coming down to it in writing, and we are like, yes, this is what we've agreed, what is the operational? Are you understanding how we operating?
Because at some point you are together, so one of you must have left. It's either the woman left, like for example, if you're in a violent relationship and the man has control, he's very controlling, you might have to leave your children, because you can see he's not violent against his children, it's just you. And you might have to leave your children and protect yourself. So you might have to have left.
Yeah.
So maybe the child is with him, or vice versa. Yeah.
They're with the parents who choose to stay.
Yes.
Yeah. So my comment here is just to take you back a little. Of course, you're people who loved each other, or had, you had a relationship, but by the point you're sitting down to talk, it will be so hard to have that conversation between the two of you if your emotions are not dealt with.
Yeah.
Especially if you're only meeting the two of you. That's why some people would prefer to go with a mediator or a lawyer. Yeah. So my point here is between the point of separation, like when it happens, to the point where you're sitting to put down the rules of engagement, as the same partner, try to deal with your emotions. If it's for the sake of the children. If, because sometimes, as Eunice says, someone can use the children against you.
Yeah.
So if you're in a co-parenting situation, and really, it's hard, it's very difficult, because emotions are involved, so many things are involved. For you to really be objective that it's for the children, both of you or one of you must be the adult, must be the sane one. Otherwise, nothing will happen. Or you get a mediator to come and talk to, so that the lines of communication are open.
So
we've gotten a mediator.
Yeah.
We've come here. We're all thinking about the child.
Yeah.
And it's even down on paper.
Yes.
Okay. 3 months later, it's one side. It's
As
one
in,
side.
When it was down on paper,
It was
working.
okay.
It was working when it
Everybody
began.
has
It was working.
Everybody has their
Down.
roles.
Yeah.
Everybody, you're going to do this, you're going to do
and
this.
and you both start doing it.
Yeah, you even high five. Yeah. then, then 3 months later, it's only one side.
And
Yeah.
most likely the mom side.
And most likely, the one who chose to stay. The parent who chose to stay is the one who's going to get a branch. I mean, the weight of it. Yeah. So now these coping mechanisms. So now we went the legal. Remember the first time we said, okay, so now we're not together. Let's do it legally. Okay, so now the legal has not helped. Well, I know that it takes time, but then how then do we cope?
You mean that the other partner is not honoring their side of their parents?
Of the agreement, yeah.
Yes. So now I'm going to bring in our guest
Yes. This is
for him to tell us how, why some men especially don't honor their part of the agreement. And I'm not saying that women do not. It can go either way, but mostly it's men who do not honor their part of the agreement. What happens?
I think it's this really depends on somebody's character. You see, especially with the men, the ones that don't honor their part of the agreement it goes down to who they are in person and what they're made of, and that also reflects so much on how much he valued this relationship in the first place. Because I know in a situation where a man honors the side of the agreement, high chances, even if the relationship failed, they really value that relationship and they'll just do their best to be part of the agreement, whatever it will cost. So I think this is a character thing, and the other side of the agreement really needed to understand that way before everything else was part of the story. But for those who don't honor the part of the agreement, it's a character thing, because men, we just don't disappear unless we really didn't like her that much. We really didn't love her that much. We found ourselves in this situation that we didn't really want to be part of. Yeah.
But
Okay.
even if you're in that situation that you don't want to be part of,
Yeah.
see, here we are. We
Yeah.
have this child who did not ask to be here and yet needs to be
I have
brought
a
up.
perfect answer for this, because in my situation,
Perfect.
I went out on a house party. I met a girl. She got pregnant. I don't know her. I don't have any ideas of who she is, what she is. And now there's a baby coming from this one-night relationship. You see? So what does this require of me?
Yeah.
Should I disappear? But then in my head, I'm like, no, she's pregnant. She's expecting a child. But in her head, she's like, I don't know this guy. I don't know where he's from. I have no idea. So we are actually just starting a new relationship with a baby on top. So how are we going to go about it? In her head, she really didn't want to get pregnant at that time.
Yeah.
But then she has. And now everything is changing.
Yeah, we are.
So from the onset, it was fighting. She was like, oh, you've messed me up, you've ruined my life, blah, blah, blah. But then, in that moment, I had an opportunity of just going zombie on her and disappearing.
For how long did you do that?
Just to disappear and just say, I don't know her, she doesn't know me.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, he had the opportunity. Oh,
Exactly.
you had the opportunity.
I had that chance
Okay.
of taking that decision.
most men take it.
Yes.
Exactly,
and
you
run.
see. But then in my mind, I was like, no, it's like in my head, because my background is I grew up without a father and I didn't really want that same situation. As much as I didn't know her that much, I'm going to know this child, and maybe through that, I will try and build a relationship to get to know her more. It hasn't been easy. It was not easy at first, but until a day, because we used to argue back and forth on maybe we should go to court, and because she was like, I don't want a child, I'll give it to you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, me, I don't mind, I'll raise it. For me, I had no problem with that, because I was like, it's just a child, you know. I'll do my best for it.
Yeah.
But we had a thing that was not common, and that was me and her. We don't have a relationship.
Yeah.
So this is the root of all evils. We really fought in the first few months as well. And when she was on her date of delivery, I was working and I got there late. And when I got there, I found everybody else in her family that I've never met. And her mom, she's there and she's like,
You're the guy.
yeah, you're the
And
guy.
then they come late.
Yeah, but to my surprise, she was really happy that I showed up. She was like, at least you are here, you know. She was happy that I showed up, and she was nice. And when I saw that she was nice, that gave me so much confidence to try and work things out with her. But then I had to call my mom and be like, you're going to be a grandmother, and she's like, and I was like, okay, nice. So from that, me and her, we really didn't get along as much. But for me, I was, how I look at it, the interest of the child. Because this child, he will grow up and he needs identity at the same time. If I disappear, then, and maybe if the mom resents the child, then it's also another problem. So from the word go, I made a decision, and brings me back to my character. I had a choice to make in the first place of disappearing. But then, because I just thought it's not fair, it's not going to be fair to her, so I made that decision to be there for her like that, and that is what I've been working on since then.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good job.
Because you had a choice and you made
Yeah.
A right
I
choice.
made the right choice. So yeah.
So let me just do some simple math, about.
Yeah.
Let me just. No, I like what you said, and you said that a majority of it's your character. Yeah, it's your character, and it also reflects about the desire of the person to be in that relationship, or what they felt about the relationship or the person. So, now, well, I don't know the statistics, but there are high statistics of separations or women having, or people getting children out of wedlock and are separating. Yeah. So if we were to now take that angle,
that everybody takes responsibility.
people know that we have a huge proportion of men who have really bad character. Yeah.
Or they didn't want to be in relationships.
Or they didn't want to be in relationships. Yeah.
Remember those red flags?
Those red flags. Yeah, okay. So, okay. As you are. That's just, I just wanted to extrapolate those statistics.
That, if I add on that, in all honesty, even on a normal situation where I'm hitting on a girl and all these things, I will always want to be with the one I like the most. Like that one, I will invest in her so much. The one that I'm attracted to, the one that I like, I'll take her on a date and do all these things that is needed. And that is the simplest way of knowing how much this guy is interested. And in a situation where we get into a marriage, the relationship advances to, something else that brings in a child.
Yeah.
How I felt before, that is, it will just show on how I invest in the child. Because if I was there emotionally like that, I'll still be there, even if I'm not part of the relationship at all. So, and I think also my decisions personally, those were my intentions from the word go, and that is why I was like, you know what, it's okay, So it's not statistics. Yeah, either way. So
Yeah.
But, I feel like for men and women, and I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, and I will speak for the women in this case. I'm a very objective person normally. You guys know that. But today, I'm on the women's side. This thing of character, I think that's an excuse. Because when you meet this girl, the way he has said, and you like her and everything, and you invest everything in her, you marry her, you stayed with her 5, 10, 15 years, whatever. What happens? Then now she has your children. Yeah. What happens along the way? or whatever happens along the way, then you guys separate. And the separation can be so nasty, eh? It's very hurtful. So how confident am I that this man who has hurt me so badly will not hurt his children? How confident am I that he will keep his... Because remember, the marriage was also an agreement.
But you don't have any guarantee.
No, you don't. You don't have any guarantees. Yeah. The marriage was an agreement, and one of us broke it. In this case, I'm saying most likely the guy broke the agreement. This is hypothetical. I'm not saying they're always the ones who break the agreement. But now we are getting into a new agreement for the children. Yes. Is he going to keep it? But is he likely to keep it? Because already this character, he has bad manners.
You're going back to that character.
So this character thing.
So now this is the thing.
And this character seems to be cut from the same cloth for very, very. It's very consistent.
But you see,
now very many.
The point is this.
Yeah.
You know that person's character.
Yes.
Or you thought you did.
Yeah. Because then you feel cheated. Because then you're like, what happened?
Remember, you're wearing glasses with the LOVE.
Yes.
So you are not seeing clearly. Yes. You're just
But now, how sure am I is going to love my children? Because you see, when now you sit into the agreement, you're supposed to have this 50-50 thing.
You can't be sure, because if you're unreliable with me, you're definitely going to be unreliable with
the children. So how do we cope with that? Because he is definitely not going to meet his end of the bargain. Yes, he won't. He would. At some point, he will drop it. He will meet it for 2-3 months or 2-3 years. He will drop it at some point. When things get thick, I didn't want to use a bad word. When things get thick, he will drop it.
But I have a question for our guest. Yeah? Mm-hmm. He said that this person will behave this way because they didn't like you in the first place. Like, that's a reflection of how the way he felt
about the relationship.
15 years later, he realizes he didn't like me in the first place.
Like, what the hell?
What the hell?
And also what our guest has brought up, what our guest has also brought up is, okay, you have split up and whatever. The energy that he will invest in that relationship with your child is what he feels. Yes. Yeah. No, what he feels about that child.
Yeah. What he feels about you and the relationship you've had.
Yeah.
What does it have to do with the children? Yeah. Please tell us.
The child is your
how
blood.
I don't see the relationship. The child is you.
It's you.
Probably you more than me.
Yeah, true.
You know?
It's true.
The child is 100% you. First, I'm baffled by the idea that we're together and you didn't like me all along.
15 years later.
I know.
And I understand life happens in the sense that, say for instance with your story, if you had decided to, okay, let's try and make it work, let's get married, because there are different situations, yeah? So if you had decided to do that and then 3 children later, you're like, I really don't like this babe, that's understandable.
That makes sense, yeah.
However, if we met and people were in love and then we go our separate ways and then you didn't like me, so now you're treating your children because you don't like me,
you know,
or even using your children to hurt me.
You see, the child, the whole child thing is an extension of how the love was, yeah? Or how they get, and you really
so
know.
you cannot be objective. You cannot pick the children and say, I will love my children as mine. I don't have to love this woman. Can you do that?
No,
Can you separate the two?
That is the ideal. That, even as, for example, if I have my children and we are with Baba Watoto here, we've Wachanat. Now, it is up to me, I'm a facilitator for them to see their father. So for me to be a facilitator, I need to remove my emotions or deal with my emotions for this relationship to work.
But only if he wants that relationship to work.
Let me ask.
If
That's
he
a good
keeps
thing.
his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Because Wangare, I'll remove myself for the relationship to work. And then he's supposed to call on Thursday. He doesn't call. No,
So you
first few months, he calls.
Why are we calling?
Right?
Who,
for the
wait,
sake of
wait,
the
no,
children.
Exactly. That's the point.
Wait, first guest, I have a burning point. No, Wango. Wango, you are an adult.
The children are not an
no,
adult.
no, the man is an adult.
Perfect, but the
I
children
over
are not.
18.
Who are suffering?
We sat down. No,
It's okay.
wait first. No, wait first.
Let her finish.
We sat down. We agreed. This is what we are going to do. So you don't live with us, yeah? Okay. So now do you still want to be in the children's life? Yes. How many times do you want to see them? I'll come on Saturdays. Amechagua. There's a mediator. And akakubali. And me, I remember you are the primary caregiver. I'm the one who is going to deal with, he came home today, mom so and so bullied me, teacher called me this. I'm going to deal with all those emotions every day. You're only supposed to call how many times? Once or twice a week. Come once a week to see your child.
Okay.
Or your
Can I
children.
be fair?
Then the first 3 months, you are perfect. You are doing what you're supposed to do. We are not even going to talk money yet. You're perfect, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. Then suddenly, on Thursday when you are supposed to call, you didn't call. Wait. I may say, a child is used to routine. They know on Thursday, daddy will call. Daddy didn't call. Mom, daddy hasn't called. I call you. I call you. Maybe you don't pick, or maybe you pick and you tell me, oh, I forgot. You forgot your child. You forgot your child. Can you forget to call your child?
So now,
wait. I forgive you. I'm like, you know what? It's human error. You forgot, or you are busy, or something happened. Sawa. See you on Thursday. Sunday, you're supposed Sunday, grace, yes. Saturday, you come, you see your child, sawa. Monday, you're supposed to call. You don't call. So me, I act as your alarm clock to be reminding you to call your child. On top of being the caregiver.
Can I now say something? Remember when you started this conversation? Please, guys, please don't come at me.
You're even scared they're going to come at you.
You are representing many.
Yes, I'm representing many. However, when we said, let's be fair and say that we've said that for the betterment of the child. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, let her finish.
So, I would think I would put myself on the side and stop reasoning like you're a grown man. You should know what you're doing.
For how long?
Wait. For the betterment
Yes.
of my children,
Yes.
I will even buy a phone, load it up for them. Like, are you able to remove yourself from that? Because what you're doing now is I'm putting all my emotions in a pot and it's boiling because you're not meeting your obligations. So I'm going to remove myself from that pot and say, what? Can we agree that you're going to talk to your children on Tuesday and on Monday? Sawa. Here is the phone. So me, I'll fight a battle of you don't answer the kids' phone. When the kids call you, please pick up their phone. But I think you're the primary caregiver. If it's about the children, stop going after. Remember this person? Either didn't like the relationship. I know. No, remember all this. Our guest, remember what our guest has said. There are many things. Plus, they betrayed Jesus. Who are you not to be betrayed?
I hear you.
Can I say? Okay. So wait. So please. So you facilitate.
Yes.
You play facilitator.
You buy the phone.
You buy the phone.
Airtime.
It even has Safari. It's there.
All networks.
All networks.
Dual SIM.
All of them. Yeah. Okay, so you facilitated, blah, you're even nice. You
Video
even
call.
remind
Don't forget.
the initial times, yeah? Remember, you grow wary as an individual, yeah? So the phone is there.
Plus, you're dealing with everything else.
You're dealing with everything else. The phone is there. It even dies because it's not been used, eh? It dies. Safaricom tells you need. It's even expired. It's expired.
use the airtime.
You need to
Expired.
use it because now it's not being used. Even nobody knows where the charger is because
It's not being
it's not
used.
being used.
And also remember, children lose interest.
They lose interest when you lose interest in them.
So now I'm just going to the other side and saying it doesn't matter how many times you facilitate as the staying parent. There's a time your
other
child will be
side.
like, he doesn't
It's
pick.
always
and
mommy.
she moves on.
Yeah, and it's always mommy you call.
And they move on.
So,
And also, what is the
the big deal about me saying?
Everyone has a bad
Yeah.
What is the big thing about our guest? What is the big thing about saying, by the way, kumeshikana leo, I'm not going to be able to make my call on
Remember,
tonight.
this person does not regard you. So
No,
he's
it's
not
not
gonna
about you.
say.
It's not about
But
you.
But that's what about their child.
But we
No, it's
That's
about
an
the
opinion.
child.
wait, hold. Just
Yeah.
wait. We
Hold
said,
and say I will call.
Ngoja, Eunice. Tulisema that it's about the child.
Yes.
Yeah? We have even been nice. We facilitated. There's a phone here. It's died, battery, everything lost. Yeah. Now,
But you're still facilitating.
we are still facilitating. Mtoto.
Like, you need a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Here's a laptop.
So my guest.
Setting an adult.
So our guest, so you facilitated to the extent that you can, yeah. You have even okay. So you have sent reminders those first few weeks. You're like, hey, by the way, I can't.
The child doesn't
What happens? Because now the child has also lost interest. Me, I'm just now the child is asking me, why didn't daddy call? Hey, you know that's when you
When did
hydrate.
daddy come?
You keep now we keep hydrating.
I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I-
sip tea and stronger tea.
I think this is what I'm thinking. You know, in a situation where you bought a phone and loaded airtime in it and given it to your child, na umwambie, whenever you feel like calling dad, feel free. This is your phone. Call him. This is the number. And if the child calls the dad, now the dad doesn't respond, ama pick back, ama whatever, he just doesn't care about it, then it goes back to my point.
That's him.
Yes, you see. But if you give your child a phone, then he calls the dad directly. Now the dad knows it is not the mom who is calling. The dad knows it's my daughter, my son who is calling. Somebody who has a good character, or somebody who's just responsible, they will speak to their child. Because nobody will just go out, will just not speak their child's.
To their child.
If you call your mom, call your mom, she'll pick. Yeah, so
And
she'll
call and she'll call back
exactly.
if
So,
it's her call.
so if and that's the point. How do you feel about your relationship with the father? As much as you're not together, what's your attitude towards him?
But you
But
see,
see,
but that is
one must establish that attitude.
But that's what she's saying.
but that is neither
Yeah.
here or
Can
there.
you remove yourself from this?
Yeah.
And be I don't even know. Like
No, but Wango, I'm
Remove
not
your
in
emotions.
it. But I'm
Remove
not
your
in it.
emotions.
Wait, you are
I'm
in
not
it.
in it.
You are in this relationship
to the
because
guest.
you are the mother to the children.
Yes.
That makes you part of the relationship, yeah? So, you towards the father, how do you feel? Let's
But
say,
it is
okay,
neither,
you've divorced.
it is neither here or there what I
Wait,
think about him.
wait.
No, but
Wait.
you know
you have an
also,
opinion.
let me, our guest said when his baby was delivered, he was not too sure how he would be received by the other side of the family. But because of her attitude towards him, he felt comfortable. Yeah, and so he was able to embrace that situation and go with it. So now, if we are, there's also, we can be positive in the beginning. We're like, yeah, we have to make this work.
Yeah.
For the sake of the children.
For the sake of the
Especially
children.
Especially
And
if they're
then
young.
this guy is not just doing what he's supposed to do. So you get tired at the end of the day. And then now your attitude changes.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning you are let's
Positive,
work, let's make this work.
You bought the
But this
phone.
other person is not keeping his end of the bargain. So what do? Your attitude just becomes
Yeah.
And then what do? We are talking about
Don't
just
tire.
right now. No, right now we are only talking about a phone call. Then there's the part that he's physically supposed to come and visit the child.
Yeah.
And you see, like for example, if you have there's an age where you can't buy a phone. You will buy a phone for a 2-year-old. Or a 4-year-old. So they need to hang out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
even if
lost.
you buy the phone, even if you buy the phone for the 2-year-old, it's still you who is going to dial that number or pick that phone and give it to him to speak to his father. Yeah. And then there's also this thing of when the man knows he's made a mistake or he's been doing this ever so often, now he no longer has excuses. Now he starts lying to the child. He starts telling the child, oh, I was so busy at work, so now I will call you. I will make sure I call you on Thursday.
Okay.
Doesn't call.
But
Mommy, who you've told to get out of that, whatever, emotional, whatever, has to deal with this child's emotions of his, first of all, he's lost interest in whatever his father is going to do or come, no, whatever. I have to deal with that. You know, it's an emotion of the child. I'm the one who must deal
And
with
it's
it.
really damaging.
He's broken. He's damaged.
It is very
And I must
damaging.
fix those pieces together. There's no way I can be out of it. I'm in there.
I have a question for the guest. Dear guest, do you understand how damaging it is for a child? Is there a point a man sits down? My parents broke up when I was 20 years old. Like, you'd think I'm an adult.
And
But
you're
the
still-
damage that thing did. So I wonder, is there a point? And at some point, them they were fighting. Yeah. So wakipigana nyasi ndio zinaumia. If you're supposed to go to school, he refuses to pay fee because it's punishment to your mother. And so, you know, and then now, because when you're 20 old, back then people never used to separate, so it was so strange. So like, children suffer.
Yeah.
Is there a point a man sits and thinks that my children will suffer? Like, do you ever sit and think, if I don't act correct, this could harm my children?
Yeah, what I can say is, if it gets to that point where a man sits and asks, is this right for my children? Then it means that man has really vetted himself and he's come to an agreement with himself and he's choosing to take responsibility, right? But what I'm thinking is, the relationship onwards. You see, people divorce. I'll use an example. I'll take Will Smith. We all know Will Smith, yeah? He has a wife with the first wife and the second wife, yeah? But the relationship between the first wife and the second wife is really good. And the relationship between his first child and the other kids is really good as well. Now, in this situation, even with all the entanglement, the kids still were not part of the entanglement fight. They were part of the family. Why is this? Why are we seeing this happening? It's because this guy, he made a decision to be in the life of the children, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, he did not let their personal broken relationship come into between the kids. And this is the root of this is what causes a lot of disagreements in co-parenting situations, because we fail to acknowledge our faults, like our personal relationship towards our partner. We fail to speak about them. Sasa mtoya amekuja, there's children, but then tuna focus mtoya anataka nini. But mimi personally, as the mother, what do I want as the mother of this child? Don't mtoya grow vizuri. Nataka ukuje, nataka ukol, nataka ulete hii, nataka ulete hii, si ndio? But what do I want from you as the father, besides kuleta vitu na kukua present? What do I want? As much as we are not together, what do I want? Do I want a friend in you? Do I want to call you sometimes and tell you, watoi wameperform vizuri, nini nini? Ama relationship imeisha, then ujongelesha mtoi. Other than that, endelea na life yako.
And that is the situation, unfortunately.
Yeah,
for
that's
most.
the situation. So my question is, what is my part in ensuring that me and you, our relationship is at its best? Because to me, of course, to me separate, to me divorce, whatever the case, but how do we keep that relationship still open and healthy, even with our divorce?
Yeah, can we be civil?
Yeah,
Can
can
we
we-
be
yeah.
civil with each other?
Imagine communicate.
So now, that the way I like how you've done that, our guest, and I think the one thing to answer that is do you respect me? Yeah, because you respect yourself enough. I would assume so. You respect yourself enough to take a shower, to take a shit, or whatever by yourself. But here is a child who carries your genes, who is your blood. Yeah. So how do you show respect of yourself and of this child? Yeah. First. Then now, because if it doesn't matter how much of a facilitation role I play, I may be nice, I may, have regular coffee dates, God forbid, and things like that to make sure that it's all about the child. Yeah. But the thing is, I say again, we are human beings. Yeah, there's only so much you can be able
Yeah.
to stretch me. And remember, by you not acknowledging or doing your part, you're not respecting me. So, and I know the Bible says, turn your face, be slapped another 70 times.
70.
Hey, but Jesus died for my sins. Yeah.
You don't need to die for them.
I don't need to die for this guy's sins. So I think one of the things, the coping mechanisms, I think now we've even gone like this.
coping.
But I think so in the majority, in the case where there's a majority of guys, now we are saying back to their character, who don't have good character, yeah, who are not doing right by their children, who are not doing right by their partner, the mom, yeah, is one, I think, is to get a good support system. Yeah, is to get a good support system, either your sisters, your friends, whoever is going to be available, because this co-parenting, and when you're the single parent, it's hard. Yeah, it is so hard. Yeah.
Susan has some plan.
Susan has something. We are coping. Yes. That comment that our guest said about character is very key. Because you have to get to a point where you understand your former ex, whoever, so well, so that you can predict how they will behave in any situation.
Yes.
If they're not people who come through, they will come through once, twice, thrice. The fourth one, they didn't come through. You made a contingency plan.
Yes.
You're like, I know there is a term or a year he will not pay school fees, and he said he will pay. I have a kabank mahali, I have my money, I will pay school fees. Number 2, try to deal with your emotions. It is very important. Seek a therapist if possible. It puts you a notch higher, because every time you're in it. You're always going to meet this person whom you hate or love or whatever, mixed reactions. But if you have not dealt with your emotions, those, you'll always keep fighting. Number 3, anything you do not have any control over, don't allow it to stress you. Because if you do not have a control over it, there's nothing you can do about it. So find a way of anticipating, expecting, the unknown, and that which you can't deal with, by the way, just don't stress over it. It will kill you, by the way. That thing you can't control, it will kill you. It's like someone was giving me an example. When we are young moms and we leave our children back at home, we have gone back to work and we are stressing, we're always calling, we're always needing. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't leave work and go and check on the children. The best you can do is leave them to God and move on with your life. But if you keep stressing, you're just going to stress yourself out. You will die. So understand this guy, deal with your emotions, and if you cannot have control for whatever it is that they are not doing, deal with it as well.
Yeah, maybe I can add before we finish this chapter, you see, if you fast forward life in 10, 15 years when these kids are 18, 19, 20, if this man was not part of the equation from the word go,
They're not going to.
they will not, it's their loss. They will not relate to the kids. And maybe these kids will become something in the society and then they will just lose that. So what she said, no, wait. Now it depends with when you're raising as a single parent in a co-parent situation.
Yes.
How you raise them, if you taught them well to have character and behave, when this man come back, they'll do their best to be in his life, but they won't really be in a relationship. You see?
Yeah.
So don't just what she said. Understand the person and manage yourself.
Yeah.
Have a strong support system, and when life happens, this man, he will be out of the naturally the kids will not go towards him. And if you by chance you happen to meet somebody else who is of better character, that's the person they will relate to as their father. So I think the sole thing here is just to understand your person, have no expectations at all,
Have no expectations.
and just have a plan B always. It will help you to deal with.
I mean, even in marriage, the more you have no expectations, the better it is. In the sense that I don't expect that my person needs like there's duties, there's role, there's whatever we are bound by, but the lesser expectations I have of when, how, structure, the better, the easier it is for me. Now imagine ati mumekosana, even the more I should let go of expectations, because now this person is not invested
In you.
Or that relationship.
I had a little point to make about co-parenting. If you land on a person who needs to co-parent, please behave and help them to co-parent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Please
now if you're
behave.
in a relationship. Now
Yes.
you move on to another relationship.
Yes. Or if you're just a nice kababe and you are
Uganda
told
daddy.
this Nairobi lies,
Found yourself in a box.
found yourself in a box
Please enable
because
that
you can't blame.
relationship.
Enable the person to be present for their children.
Yeah.
Just encourage them. Like, it's a vicious circle, the monkey is the same. Munyama ni ule ule. Like, enable.
Thank you guys.
Nyani ni ile ile.
Thank you.
One burning point. I have a question for Shiro. Why should God forbid you going for coffees? Having coffee?
No, I didn't say.
Hydrate.
Thank you guys for that very interesting discussion. Thank you, our guests, for your input.
It deserves a second part because there's finances.
There's a lot, there's a lot that we have not discussed. Yeah, and hopefully we can discuss it. But for now, see you. Bye.